Some will say, stop being afraid to just admit that you're a dyke. While others will say, you pass as straight because you're with Thomas. You have no right to complain about homophobia with your privilege. Just shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Today I'm going to be doing something that needs to be done, and that is respond to biphobia and also bisexual erasure. Even sometimes coming from other LGBTQ plus folk. I'm going to just stop trying to hide how big my ears are. There you go. But yeah, all these microaggressions from straight people and good-humoured biphobic comments from other people within the community, they deeply affect many bisexual people, pansexual people, queer, fluid. If your sexual orientation means that you like more than one gender, more than one sex, it's very likely that the legitimacy of your sexuality is constantly questioned. According to the HRC and loads of other research, the bisexual population is the single biggest group within the LGBTQ plus community, and we are still the most invisible. A bi woman named Brenda Howard organised the first Pride parade, and yet bisexuals like me will still get tweets like this. You've got no reason to feel the need to go to Pride. It's not like you're gay. Ooh. Bi people are often made to feel excluded within LGBTQ plus spaces and in conversations about LGBTQ plus issues, even when we're present, because we're often assumed to be straight or gay, you know, if we're dating someone, or even if we're not, based on our gender expression, you know, oh, she's so butch, she's obviously a lesbian, she's girly, she must be straight, he's really girly, he has to be gay. Let's look at some comments I receive on the reg and respond, shall we? Melanie, I'm married to a woman, the best woman in the universe. I'm bisexual, but when we hang out at lesbian bars or with our lesbian and gay friends, they'll often assume I'm gay and call us a lesbian couple. And I hate this. I get that it's okay to say, and it's probably technically right, but I am not a lesbian. My wife is, I'm not. When I mention it, even in a jokey way to try avoid a big deal kind of thing, our mates insist I can't really be bi now that I'm partnered. Does this happen to you because you're with Thomas? Do people say that you are in a straight relationship, and does it bother you? Do people question if you are really bisexual? Please help, it gets me down so much. And you guys would have, oh, your mind would be blown if you knew how many comments like this I get constantly. I get DMs, I get tweets, I get comments on YouTube videos, and it breaks my little heart to see this constantly. Some bisexual people don't mind calling themselves gay and having other people call them gay, or like that they're in a gay relationship and stuff like that. A lot of people use the word gay and lesbian as an umbrella term, and I get that, but it can be very damaging for people who it can erase bisexuality for a lot of people. We need to allow people to identify themselves for themselves. Don't put labels on other people. Ever. Ever. A lot of the time I don't think this is done with ill intent. I don't think it's done to upset people. So with this girl, for example, her friends calling them a lesbian couple, I'm sure that they don't want to upset either of them, but obviously it does. It upsets this girl who has the right to be recognised for who and what she is. And this does happen to me, yeah. It happens all the time, every day, online. And it does happen in real life as well. Even it's happened with family. And mates of mine kind of saying like, oh, you finally picked a side and stuff. No, that's not what orientation means. If a straight man, say, decides to become a priest and he never marries and never dates anyone, and, you know, he will have a sexual orientation still. His orientation may be straight even if he's never with a woman. You know, so when gay dudes find out I'm bi or queer, I'll hear such degrading things from them about the bodies of women. It's like I'm seen as less queer because of my relationships, past and present, with girls. I find the comments transphobic and misogynistic, and I can't really handle it. I don't handle it very well. I'm considering going forward telling people I'm straight, unless it's a dude I'm attracted to, and I'll just say I'm gay. I don't know. Oh. No! This is a huge problem. I've had gay friends say disgusting things about vaginas that may be very hurtful for trans folk to hear, but it's even hurtful for me to hear. And yeah, I've known men who are bisexual who just identify as gay because it's easier for them within the community, because apparently it's like they're polluted almost if they have had a past with girls in the eyes of other gay men. And how upsetting is that, like, to think about? A lot of bisexuals feel like there's something wrong with them, like they're dirty, you know, like they're not pure. There's actually another comment here that kind of ties in with this. Last night I was having dinner with a friend and one of her friends called herself a gold star lesbian, which I found out means a woman who only has slept with other women. Do you ever hear lesbians say stuff like that? It made me, a bisexual girl, kind of feel like shit. Like I'm lesser than her for having slept with men. Like my queerness wasn't enough. If you are gay or you're a lesbian and you're watching this, please know how hurtful hearing stuff like that can be for bisexual people. Think back maybe to before you were out, to the things that straight people would say about gay and lesbian relationships and sex. It genuinely does feel like we're kind of a notch back. If that makes any sense. Like, the world is kind of coming on leaps and bounds and celebrating gayness and stuff, and then when it comes to people like me, even within the community, like all of the vitriol and the judgmentalism, it's ridiculous, and it's time for that to stop. It really is. When I was single, I experienced that quite a bit. A couple of lesbians I chatted to on dating apps, and then just little comments here and there I'd hear from lesbian friends and stuff. There was always a lot of talk from lesbians saying that they were kind of put off by the idea that I'd been with men. I think there is this weird elitism and kind of purist kind of nonsense that just kind of like slips out in their language sometimes. And well, no, it's not always an accident. I know people who think these things and say these things. They would not date or sleep with a bi person. And I deal with this all the time. Both ends of the spectrum, right? Some will say, stop being afraid to just admit that you're a dyke. While others will say, you pass as straight because you're with Thomas. You have no right to complain about homophobia with your privilege. Just shut up. Any out and confidently bisexual person will suffer the same at the hands of homophobia as any lesbian or gay person or trans person. The fear and disgust at same-sex love is at the core of homophobia. That is what's targeted by homophobes, and just because I'm with a guy and have been with guys doesn't mean that I have not been with girls. I constantly shout about LGBTQ plus rights, so I constantly get comments like these here. Horrible, hateful, disgusting comments. The fact that I've been with women isn't just washed away by my dating a man in the eyes of homophobic people. That about me is still targeted and met with hostility by some people. So yeah, I just hate comments like that. And comments like this. Melanie, I'm struggling to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend because when my sexuality comes up in conversation, often on like dating apps and things, the first questions I get asked are if I'm polyamorous, do I love threesomes, and people assuming I sleep around. I've got nothing wrong with people being promiscuous, but that isn't me, and I'm fed up of being attracted to more than one gender being equated with wanting to screw everybody. Okay, ran over lol. Imagine if every straight female was assumed to be promiscuous. No, you can't even imagine that, because it's stupid, because some people just aren't. I know some straight people who will go to a party and they'll find so many people in the room hot, and they'll be like, yeah, that guy, that, yeah. I know gay people who'll go to a party and they won't be attracted to anyone. I know bi people on both ends of this spectrum. I have some bi friends who are extremely picky, and what I'm getting at is it's nothing to do with your orientation, like if you're poly, if you can love or sleep with multiple people at the same time, if you're into threesomes. A lot of hetero-flexible and bi-curious people will love having threesomes. Some bisexual people like them, some straight people love them. It's a horrible stereotype that causes a lot of bi people to repress their feelings and their thoughts and just who they are, and makes them hide a huge chunk of themselves from their friend group and from their family because they don't want that assumption made about them. Being bi doesn't mean you fancy everybody. It doesn't mean you're going to be attracted to everybody and like, oh, and greedy and all those awful, oh, there's such bad stereotypes. This is a good place to leave off and leave a card here of my video of things not to say to bisexual people, which goes hand in hand with all the messages of this video. But yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to highlight a lot of these issues that people like me experience on the internet and in real life, because it's not just an online phenomenon. This does bleed into real life conversations and experiences for a lot of people, and it sucks. It's not nice. And thumbs up if you would like more videos like this. I know you guys love my videos on the subject of bisexuality, because it's just not talked about by many people. I'm very comfortable to talk about all of the things, so leave your requests down below and thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. And this is how I say goodbye today.